Good evening, friends. A warm welcome to all. Today, the webinar is on practical aspects and new features of e-way bill in GST. A e-way bill is an electronic receipt order document issued by a carrier giving details and instructions relating to the shipment of the consignment of goods, and the details include name of the consigner, consignee, the point of origin of consignment, destination of consignment, route, etc. EWay system supports various practical issues faced by users in delivering the goods. Particularly, several complexities may be involved in the movement of goods from the source to the destination. Supplier or transporter faces hurdles in route like the breakdown of a vehicle or otherwise, may have to deviate route or change the transportation mode. And for this, we have a guest speaker, CA Alok Farsaiya ji. He is a practicing chartered accountant having an experience of over 30 years. He was a regular faculty of a spell vet at the ICI and currently a faculty for GST at the ICI. His clients include national and multinational companies. He regularly advises clients on business structuring and transactions from a tax perspective. He has advised the procurement and servicing department army of the Ministry of Defense. He has successfully represented clients before the tax authorities and tribunals across the country. He also advises clients pursuing litigation in the Supreme Court of India and the High Court. And we have with us none other than CA Vivek Khuranaji, founder of CA Sansaar, and his name is just enough for the CA. Now, I would request him to welcome him and give him a welcome address. So please.
Thank you very much, Stuti ji. Respected Alok Farsaiya ji, speaker of today's webinar, CA Stuti Mahajan ji, all other respected members, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, a warm welcome to all of you at today's webinar on very important topic of the e-way bill under GST. My sincere thanks to Alok ji for accepting our invitation and giving his valuable time at this time when everybody is busy into GST, income tax, tax audit, because the last dates are there. So we hope everybody is asking for the date. Might be date would be extended. So even for this e-way bill, government is trying to save the taxes. Means जो काफी इश्यूज आ रहे थे, गवर्नमेंट इज ट्राइंग थ्रू द ई-वे बिल एंड मेनी कॉम्प्लिकेशंस आर देयर, गवर्नमेंट आर ट्राइंग टू सिंप्लीफाइड इट एंड स्टिल नाउ many confusion are there in the e-way bill, like for example whether how to generate, how to modify it, and whether one e-way bill is there for multiple transport system. So we have various issues there which will be addressed by the Alok ji, and his very heavy experience in this e-way bill. So once again, my sincere thanks to Alok ji for giving his valuable time. And now over to Alok ji. Thank you, sir, once again.
Thank you, Vivek ji. Thank you, Stiti ji. E-way bill. It's a very difficult topic, and simultaneously, it is a very, very easy topic. Why? Because the entire story runs between only one rule, that is Rule 138. For entire country, it may be a new thing, but for the state of UP and the state of West Bengal, this is a very old thing. And we say it is a way of, it's a document which can be called as a road permit to move on road with the vehicle. The law behind it is very simple. That whenever you are moving the goods on road, Section 68 of the Act defines what documents should be carried by the vehicle while movement of goods. The documents are the owner, the title of the goods, or the why the goods are being moved. And the second issue comes is that if the value of goods is more than 50,000 rupees, then the goods should be accompanied with the e-way bill. Now, e-way bill is a document generated from the site of the GSTN or their allied websites, from where the transaction is recorded with the government, so that subsequently the people should not be able to avoid the tax. If we go to the old regime, what was the practice being adopted by the businesses? 1 लाख का bill raise किया जब माल transporter. If I am using the mixed language, it is okay, Rajesh ji. So if the goods are moved from one place to another place for the value of 1 lakh rupees,
Yes, sir.
and
You can use both the language.
चलिए सर, माल 1 लाख का भेजा, माल जब पहुंच गया, पहुंचती आ गई, तो वो बिल जो है 5,000 रुपए का बन जाता था. Now this was very simple way to evade tax. In a state of UP and in a state of West Bengal, this rule was there when you used to enter the goods within a state. And in the state of UP, there was also a system when for a limited goods, for a list of specified goods, they used to use a form 29 for that, where the goods used to move only with that document. Now with the introduction of GST, they had came up with a eway bill mechanism, which says if the value of goods is more than 50,000 rupees, then the goods should be, along with the title document of the goods should be accompanied with the eway bill. Now, first question arises, how to compute the value of eway bill? In this, I will say one thing in between. Some states has relaxed this condition of 50,000 rupees to 1 lakh rupees. But that relaxation applies only for the transaction within a state and not for the interstate transactions. So even if this limit of 50,000 rupees is notified by those state and you are situated in those state, but if the goods are moving out of that state, then the limit comes back to 50,000 rupees. And while computing the value of 50,000 rupees, the value of goods is to be computed along with the tax applicable on goods. So the value of good is 49,000 rupees, 18% tax, 8,500 rupees, it becomes 58,000 rupees. No, the eway bill becomes applicable. And in absence of eway bill, it is assumed that the transaction is being done for evasion of tax. Along with this eway bill, they also prescribed that once you generate an eway bill, there is a time limit for that. That is, the goods should move to the destination within the time prescribed. And the time prescribed is, in a very simple language, we can say it is 1 day for 100 kilometers. So if it is 210 kilometers, then it becomes 3 days, not 2 days. And you can calculate the distance time accordingly. But if for any reason the consignment is large sized, then this limit comes to 20 kilometers per day. Large size consignment is defined as a consignment where the consignment has to move by special trucks. So that is not a very regular course of business. Another thing is that they have exempted some transactions from eway bill. They have specified list of 8 goods for which while the movement of goods we do not need an eway bill. Secondly, if the transaction is coming in the schedule 3, or we can say if the goods are being moved by the government to government, then also we don't need an eway bill. And I will not go into the detail of that list. But 8 items, out of those 8 items, one very important item is jewelry, where we do not need any eway bill. And next thing is, one very common question comes is, if I am moving my personal goods, then whether I need to get an eway bill? No. The goods used for personal use are out of eway bill. Next question arises, who has to generate an eway bill? The person who starts the movement of the goods, he has to generate an eway bill. Now, even a consumer can be a person who can be required to generate an e-way bill. I go to Delhi, I purchase some goods, and I am bringing. I'm a consumer. I'm not a trader, but I'm bringing those goods. I take a delivery on a counter, and I bring those goods from the Delhi to Agra. Then I need to generate a e-way bill. It is not the responsibility of the dealer who generates the e-way bill. So the rule is very clear. The person on who is making the movement of the goods, in the similar, when I say the consumer, in the same way the purchaser who is the recipient of the goods can also generate the e-way bill. Especially these things comes into picture when the e-way bill, when there is a transaction for bill to ship to model. Bill to ship to model is seller is at one place, purchaser is at one place, and purchaser says deliver the goods at the third place. In such cases, if for any reason the middle seller do not wants to let the ultimate purchaser know who is the purchaser, who is the supplier, in such cases the purchaser in between, that is in a bill to ship to model, the first purchaser uses to issue the e-way bill. And e-way bill has two parts. First part is part A, when what is generated by the supplier. He fills the required details on the e-way, on the portal. And second part is part B, which is filled by the transporter. And normally what happens, we take the goods, we carry the goods from our place to the transporter's place, and then transporter loads the goods in the truck by collecting all types of goods. Then the goods are being transported. In such cases, the transporter fills part B at when the vehicle is allocated to the goods. And this sort of exercise can be applied as many times as required till the expiry of the e-way bill. That is, wherever there is a transshipment of goods from, I am sending goods from Chennai to Amritsar. Stuti ji is from Amritsar. So I am sending the goods from Chennai to Amritsar. The trucks keeps on changing at different places according to the logistic supports. So whenever the truck is changed, on the part B of the e-way bill, the truck number is updated every time. This is a very simple process. Now, while generating the e-way bills, we commit so many errors so many times. And what are those common errors? And due to these common errors, whenever, sir, ये 129 वाले section, we can come to this slide, section 129 detention and seizure. Yes. Whenever any official checks the goods while movement and they found any discrepancy between the goods, the invoice or we can say the title document of the goods and the e-way bill, they detain the goods and they get it verified. And once they found any sort of discrepancy, it tends to the seizure of goods. And once the seizure of goods is there, we need to pay the tax and the penalty, or we can deposit a bank guarantee as a security. Although the act says once the penalty and tax is paid, the proceedings ends. But the general practice is whenever we pay a tax or penalty on the goods while movement of goods, such incidences affects our final assessment under section 65 or 74. Why? Because once we are, the allegation in section 129 is that we are found doing an action where we had made an attempt to evade the tax. And once there is any such allegation is on us, it will affect our assessment. Therefore, we need to take specific care that we should not get into the clutches of section 129, and we should avoid the payment of tax and penalties. I may share one incidence of an old time where we had fought a case for 70 rupees of a penalty, and the cost of litigation was much higher. Therefore, we need to avoid the penalties levied under section 129. But for as far as the GST is there, it is a new law. What will be the effect on assessments? This only the time can tell. But as far as the past practice is there, any seizure of goods and paying of penalty on goods had been affecting our assessment later on. Now, when we say there can be a seizure and penalty, and these seizure and penalty will be there on finding of any difference in the goods, the title documents, and the e-way bill. The common differences are, very common clerical differences are, whenever we are generating an e-way bill, the system is taking the date when we generate an e-way bill. We generated the invoice at 11 p.m. in night. The trucks comes to the factory at 12:30 a.m. and the clerk generating the e-way bill, he fills the bill number, he fills all other details, but the system is picking the date of invoice as the date when the invoice, when the e-way bill is being generated. Now, at 12 o'clock, when the date is changed, so that my invoice date is say 18th and that e-way bill is being generated on 19th, and on e-way bill it will come as printed the date of invoice as 19th, until unless I go and change the place. Another very common error is where my recipient of the goods has multiple places of business in the same state. I am sending the goods from Agra to Haryana, and in Haryana, the recipient of the goods is having his registered office in Gurgaon, but he has factory in Rohtak. The goods has to be sent to Rohtak, but system will pick the destination as Gurgaon. My GR is in GR says my goods are moving for Rohtak. My bill says the goods are moving for Rohtak, but my e-way bill says my goods are moving to Gurgaon. Third common error, next common error is where while mentioning the truck numbers, we commit the error of 1 or 2 digit. We make the change. In cases of bill to ship to model, we commit the error in the name of the persons to whom the goods are being shipped. So, or these are common clerical errors. Intentional errors are the vehicle is carrying different type of goods. The e-way bill or the title document is for different type of goods. The vehicle is carrying the different quantity, but the bill and e-way bill says for a different quantity. So these are intentional errors where it is a clear-cut attempt to evade the tax. We cannot help the tax evaders. For that, we can have a closed door meetings, how they evade the tax. But as far as law is concerned, if in quantity there are differences, there is a scheme, a manufacturer launches a scheme with 100 packets, 5 packets free. So he's packing 105 packets, but on the invoice is made for 100 packets. So this will create a difference in a quantity in e-way bill as well as in the goods. Some more allegations what the department is coming up. The invoice, on the invoice, there is a classification dispute. I say my goods are taxable at 12%. Department says these goods are taxable at 18%. These sort of disputes can be there. But with all this, what happens is the biggest problem what the business is facing is that the supplier is situated at one place, the recipient is situated at one place, and the goods are detained in the way, and sometimes these distances are more than 1,000 kilometers or maybe more, because India is a wide country. In such circumstances, what solutions we have? Number one solution is we should be cautious while issuing the e-way bill. If the e-way bill is issued wrongly, we can cancel the e-way bill and we can regenerate the e-way bill, and there is no harm in it. But still, error is human, and human commits such errors. And for those errors, the department came up with a circular number 64 dated 14/9/2018, where they specified 6 errors, and under which next yes, where they specified 6 types of errors, in which the department said if while checking the goods these sort of errors are found, then there should not be any sort of detention of goods, and the goods should be released by charging only 1,000 rupees as penalty, as a token penalty. And these errors are the name of the party is a minor difference in the name of the party. Similarly, while mentioning the GST number of the party, we commit 1 or 2 digits error. We commit an error in mentioning the PIN code of the party. But while mentioning the PIN code of the party, we should take care of one thing, that if the distance is too long, by virtue of entering the PIN code on the system while generating the e-way bill, the e-way bill automatically calculates the distance between the destination and originating place. And if we commit an error in PIN code, the system will calculate the wrong distance, and which may affect the validity of the e-way bill, validity time of the e-way bill. If the distance is too long, then the difference will not be much. It will not affect the number of days. But for a shorter distance, if we commit the error in mentioning the PIN code, the time limitation period of e-way bill may change. Therefore, we should take a special caution about mentioning the PIN code if the distance is short. Next error is regarding mentioning the addresses of the recipient. As I said that my goods are going to Rohtak, but I mentioned the address of the head office of the recipient. If these sort of errors are there, mentioning the invoice number, my invoice number is 123, I mentioned 132, or similar sort of clerical errors. Similar thing happens in mentioning the truck numbers. This is also a very common human error, because ultimately human being is punching those data for generating the e-way bill. And the HSN code on the e-way bill. If the HSN code error is something very different sort of a problem. In case there is an error in HSN code, then the department also have a right to see whether my goods and the bill are of the same HSN. What is the HSN for the mentioned on the e-way bill? If the goods and the bill is with the same HSN, and there is an error in mentioning the e-way bill on the HSN on the e-way bill, it does not make difference. But if there is a difference in goods HSN and the HSN mentioned on the bill, then it is going to certainly generate a sort of an allegation that we are moving some goods, some different goods than the goods being mentioned in the bill. But the circular gives these errors on which they mention that only 1,000 rupees penalty should be there. Next. So, still there is a demand that some more common errors, as I mentioned in start, which are very human errors and omissions, which may also generate the difference between an e-way bill and the documents and the goods. We hope so that the department may soon come with the circular where the error in the date of invoice and the date mentioned on the e-way bill should be ignored. Minor difference in quantities due to schemes may be ignored. The description of the goods, if the description is given as a common description, it should be not be taken care. Like I faced a very peculiar case in a practical life. The code says bath soap. My client has generated a bill for his brand. He has not generated a bill for a bath soap. He has generated a bill for his brand, whatever brand he used, and said this Pierce 10 carton. Now, Pierce is not a commodity. If the Pierce is not a commodity, but if the packing of the Pierce says that this is a bath soap and I am using the HSN for the bath soap, then in that case also the thing should not be disturbed. Similar, very common problem is coming in, not in the entire country, but in some states they are raising the issue of valuation. The officer who is intercepting the vehicle checks the goods and he says that this is a transaction of undervaluation, especially in the state of UP and in the state of MP. They had came out with a circular that the officers on road should not disturb the valuation issue, nor they can disturb the rate of tax issues. But in some other state, these issues are coming up where they are detaining the goods on difference of valuation and the classification issues. So we are expecting some circular or some help from the government that, like circular number 64, a circular should also be issued that in these circumstances, the goods should not be detained or no penal action, etc., may be taken against the assessee. Now, friends, with these sort of errors, if the goods are stopped, sir, थोड़ा पीछे जाएंगे राजेश जी, circular number 41 वाली slide. Yes. With these sort of common errors what we are committing while movement of goods, if the goods are intercepted by the mobile squad officers, then what they should do, what is required by them. Because I believe in one thing. Yes, these officers are very respectable government servants, but if they are not abiding the law, then we have to take different routes. So we also need to understand what is the rule and procedure, what they need to follow. The moment they intercept the goods, they need to file a summary report EWB3 within 24 hours of the interception of goods. And all these documents are available to the supplier as well as the recipient of the goods on the common portal. Excuse me. After within 3 days of the inception, they have to do the entire physical verification, and they need to update the final report on the common portal. And if they find any, this is one part, and another part is if the transporter is not able to provide them the sufficient document or they find any error in the documents, they record the statement of the transporter. Why? Because while the goods are on move, the transporter is a bailee of the supplier as well as the recipient, and the government thinks that for all practical purposes the transporter is the owner of the goods until and unless the recipient of the goods or the supplier of the goods come forward and represent before the respective officer. Till that time the transporter is the owner of the goods for all practical purposes. So they record the statement of the transporter and issues him the detention memo. And if no discrepancy is found, then obviously they cannot detain the goods. And if the discrepancy is found, then they pass they issue a show cause notice that why the penalty cannot be levied on the goods. And in reply of those show cause notice, we come forward, either the supplier or the recipient, whosoever is there, he has to file a written submission that the allegation made by the officer detaining the goods is incorrect. And after examining such objections, either they can release the goods or they can seize the goods and ask for the penalty. And if we have to deposit the penalty, then there is an option: we deposit the amount in cash, or we can deposit a bank guarantee and take up the matter further for adjudication. With this background, friends, what the court says and how they come forward to us. Rajesh ji, आगे चलेंगे? Some more, थोड़ा सा और आगे आइए. There's some remedies by court. As I have discussed, friends, there is a circular number 64. In addition to that, there is a case of Vidyavasini to MAA Vidyavasini Tobacco Company in which the Allahabad High Court has said that if even the vehicle number is mentioned on e-way bill by hand and part B is uploaded and updated, in such cases the goods cannot be detained nor seized. What happens, friends? I said in between, whenever there is a transshipment of goods, the truck number is to be updated. Now, suppose if the transshipment of the goods is taking place where the transporter is not having a computer facility, so they update the truck number by way of mobile phone or something, some such facilities available to them, and they mention the new truck number on e-way bill by hand. In this case, the truck was detained by the mobile officer for the reason that on the part B, the new truck number was mentioned by hand. So the Allahabad High Court has said no, if on the part B on portal the new truck number is duly updated, and on that physical e-way bill on a paper format what is available with the truck driver, on that the vehicle number is changed by hand. In such cases, the truck should not be detained or seized. One more very common problem is coming where while taking the statement of the driver, they are recording a situation where they say the invoice says the goods has moved from X place and the destination is Y. While on the taking the statement of on oath of the driver, they say that the goods has moved from the place A and reaching the destination B. Now, in such cases, the allegation of the government is that X whose documents are there with the truck is only a person who is providing the bills, and the actual seller is A. These are in e-way bill issues, and in the past we have faced so many such allegation and cases. In this case also, there is a very landmark case in our case of RK Overseas, where the court has held that if such sort of allegation is being made, then only the statement of driver is not sufficient. The opportunity of hearing should be given to the supplier or the recipient. Without that, such findings should not be taken place. These sort of problems also comes in case of bill to ship to models, or where the e-way bill is being generated by the middle person or the recipient of goods, where these errors are taking place. Next, Rajeshi. As I told, while generating the e-way bill, we commit a very common error. That is the mentioning the date of invoice on the e-way bill, because the system picks that date when the e-way bill is being generated. For that also, the circular is not there, but the case of Ganga Industries is there, which is again an Allahabad High Court judgment. Because why we are finding most of the Allahabad High Court judgment? Because this e-way bill and road checking system is highly active in UP, in Karnataka, and in Kerala. In other states, this system is not so active. Therefore, we are finding most of the cases from UP friends. In case of Ganga Industries, again, the Allahabad High Court has said even the minor error in mentioning the e-way bill and is a pure technical error, and on the basis of pure technical error, the goods should not be seized. The one very good beauty of this decision is that although this decision is on the e-way bill, date of the bill on the e-way bill, but the finding of the court says if there is any technical error. So the technical error can be of any kind of technical error can be covered by this judgment. It depends upon the circumstances. Next, Corona Sahab. When the goods are on move, the trucks are moving from such places where different sort of facilities are not there. So what happens? Truck drivers gets the photocopies of the documents, or the documents are sent by post. With the vehicle, only the photocopies are given, or some handwritings, or some cuttings, overwriting, etc. takes place. This is again a common problem in e-way while the goods are being checked on the move. In such cases, the case of FS Enterprises of Gujarat High Court comes to our rescue, where it has held that even if the documents are photocopy or not computer, the numbering is not automatic, or these are technical errors. We do not have the intention of the evasion of tax, then the goods should not be detained. Next, chronology. Some very peculiar cases came up where the goods are detained for, and the show cause notice says something which is contrary to the facts. And the allegations are not proven from the documents. Again, sorry, I was diverted. One more case came up where the vehicle was being transported, and the allegation was it is a new vehicle, and when the new vehicle is there, why the e-way bill has not been generated for the vehicle. So for the vehicle, the law is once the vehicle is registered with the RTO, it do not remains goods, and it is being covered by the Motor Vehicles Act. And when when the thing is not goods, then the provisions of section 129 cannot come forward for detention of those goods. And for that, Con Motors Company Private Limited case is there, where the Kerala High Court has said, no, the motor vehicle which is registered cannot be termed as goods. Next. And friends, when we go in the entire series of these decisions on e-way bill, then we find a basic jurisprudence. And the basic jurisprudence of the entire mechanism of penalty is that there should be a mens rea, malified intention of the persons behind that. And if the malified intention is not there, in that case, only nominal penalties can be levied. Very high pitched penalties cannot be there. In case of penalties under section 129, these are high pitched penalties based on the value of the goods. In income tax also, tomorrow we are going to listen Rakesh ji. He also follows the same. He also tells us the same thing, that in case of a penalty, we need to prove that we are not guilty and there is no malified intention behind it. And when there is no malified intention behind it, then we should not be penalized. And this entire jurisprudence starts from the case of Jain Shuddh Vanaspati, which is a very, very old case. And especially Jain Shuddh Vanaspati was the movement of goods on road without documents. And from there, from the case of Jain Shuddh Vanaspati in a VAT regime, again a case came with the name of Rama pulses. And in case of when the law changed from the VAT regime, it came to GST regime. The decision came in Polycab in India Limited. In all those cases, the principle is same, that there should be a malified intention to evade the tax. And if there is no malified intention to evade the tax, then the assessee should not be penalized. Only the token penalties, what is said in circular number 64, that 1000 rupees penalty can be levied and the good should be released. This principle comes up. So friends, whenever we have any sort of detention or seizure of the goods, it becomes very difficult for us to rush to that place to fight with the mobile officers. Why? Because the truck is on hold. So many times the goods are perishable. So we deposit the amount of penalty or bank guarantee at that time, and we make the goods move. But subsequent stages, when we file an appeal, then what is going to be help for us is the action and replies submitted before the mobile officers, that why these sort of errors had taken place for which they had seized the goods. And we need to bring out some fact in some manner, in a way that no, this error had been a technical or a human clerical oversight. And there is no intention of evasion of tax. And if we are able to bring some such evidence in proceedings under section 129 before the mobile officers, that there is no intention to evade the tax, then at the appeal stage, we are 100% going to get the relief. And our penalties or the security deposit, whatever is deposited by us, we are going to get the refund. And if for any reason, if we are not able to prove that there is no intention to evade the tax, then we know, friends, nothing can be done. So simple one, I have in the entire e-way bill mechanism, I have a one-liner message. We need to prove that there is no intention to evade the tax. One more thing, friends, this is the last thing. If we have seen the act, there is a mention of chronology. Next slide, last. There is a mention of RFID, radio frequency identification device. Two states has started this process, and again the UP is first one, where they have installed the RFID towers, and the movement of vehicle within a state, the RFID is necessary to be installed on vehicle. Otherwise, they will not. The vehicle will be liable to for a penalty of 25,000 rupees. But what is going to be the help to the assessee as well as to the department? The RFID is a mechanism where we feed the e-way bill, and with the e-way bill, whenever we mention the vehicle number, automatically those vehicle number details are available with the computerized network of the GST. And whenever the vehicle is moving from one place to another place, the movement of those goods and the e-way bill is automatically recorded in the system. And when the movement of goods is automatically recorded in the system, so government is facing the problem of fake invoicing. All know about it. When the e-way bill is there, RFID is there, then the entire problem of Section 62B, which says that if you have not received the goods, you cannot claim ITC. That problem is going to be solved automatically because my movement with the help of my e-way bill as well as with RFID mechanism, I am going to, even the GSTN is having the evidence there, yes, the goods has reached to me. Not exactly to me, but at least in the area where I am situated. Simultaneously, this is also going to help the assessee in a manner that there is a problem of fake invoices, but there is a decision of ARIS India. Although that decision is in case of VAT regime, but the principle comes as it is that if I have received the goods, I have made the payment, I am a genuine purchaser and the supplier is a registered dealer. Then if he has not paid the tax as per Section 16(2), my ITC will be blocked, will not be allowed to me. No, the ARIS India case says, yes, the ITC will be allowed to me. So the e-bill plus RFID will help us also, the assessee also. Yes, the goods has reached to the recipient of the goods. Therefore, this e-way bill mechanism is helpful for both the parties. Stuti ji has mentioned about in beginning for few things that how this is generated on the system, and I may be discussing those. Very sorry to say, friends, I had not generated a e-way bill even once in my life since it has come in picture. Yes, I had handled the cases. So how the system works, how the portal works, I'm sorry I cannot help on that part of the thing. This is what, friends, I wanted to share with you as regards to the e-way bill. Take precautions so that your goods are not detained on the way. And but even if due to any human error or any error on part of us, the goods are detained, then what is available to us for our rescue that we are not going to land up paying the huge taxes and the penalty. Thank you very much, friends. And if there are any queries, Khurana ji may send it on my screen. I may help on that. Thank you very much,
Yes.
friends. Um, queries, sir, if the goods are transported from one GSTN to another GSTN within the same compound, transported through manual labor within the same compound, do we require e-way bill? No. E-way bill is required only when the goods are moved by the motorized vehicle. Even if the goods are moved by, say, hath gadi, rickshaw, or bel gadi, or some these sort of animal-driven transports, we do not need e-way bill. So, what to talk about the same compound? We do not need an e-way bill in this case.
Okay.
Next. Picked up from HP and delivered. Friends, I told e-way bill can be generated by any one of the three parties. So one party is the original supplier of the goods. Second party is the first purchaser, and the third party is the final recipient. So any of the three parties can generate the e-way bill. The only precaution is to be taken that on the invoice it should be mentioned that the goods are meant originated from this place and going to third place, and the original purchaser is at the second place. Because if this thing is not mentioned on the bill, the ITC is not going to travel to the first purchaser, and first purchaser will be passing on the ITC the second purchaser. And on the, as well as on the e-way bill also, we need to mention from where the goods are being originated and what is the final destination of the goods. But yes, any one of the three persons can generate the e-way bill. So if the Punjab party, in Punjab, the second party is there and the third party is also in Punjab. So second party can generate an e-way bill that the goods are moving from Himachal, say Shimla. The first purchaser is sitting in Amritsar and goods are to reach to Ludhiana. So the party from Amritsar can generate an e-way bill that goods will move from Shimla to Ludhiana. I think your query is clear.
Yes, sir. One, two or more queries are there.
Yeah, sure. I am asking for this Mr. Sukhvinder ji query. Okay. In these cases, if by chance number one, system will not allow you to generate two e-way bills exactly for the same documents. You are doing some mischief, putting comma, dot, space, something in the invoice number. Otherwise, you cannot generate this two e-way bill. This is first thing. Second thing, the system, the entire GST system is totally system driven. We are sorry to say, कई बार सर कानून GSTN बना देता है, उसके हिसाब से सर्कुलर निकल जाता है. खैर, that is on a lighter part. But if any such error is taking place, just simply file a letter with your jurisdiction officer. कि इस तरीके से गलती हुई है, हमने ये एक ई-वे बिल ये बना लिया, एक ई-वे बिल ये बना लिया, टाइम खत्म हो चुका है, इसलिए हम इसको सरेंडर कर रहे हैं. E-way bill, a very common myth is e-way bill is linked with my sale. No, e-way bill is not linked with my sale. E-way bill is linked with movement of goods. There are many cases where the e-way bill are being generated. E-way bill is generated for the sending the goods for job work. E-way bill is one more thing. E-way bill is generated for the line sales. सर ट्रक में माल लाद करके हम दुकान जाते हैं और बेच के आते हैं. जब वो ट्रक में माल लाद करके हम दुकान बेचने जा रहे हैं, जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन मैकेनिज्म होता है, वहां पर हम ई-वे बिल रोज बनाते हैं. सुबह 100 पैकेट का ई-वे बिल बनाते हैं, ट्रक में माल जाता है और 70 पैकेट बिकते हैं, 30 पैकेट वापस आ जाते हैं. So e-way bill does not mean that I had executed a sale or made a supplies for that. So it does not, please do not link the e-way bill with the कि उसका मैचिंग होगा. Yes, ई-वे बिल जितने जनरेट होंगे, जब भी सेक्शन 65 या 73, 74 की प्रोसीडिंग्स होंगी, हमको उसको रिकंसाइल करवाना होगा कि ये मैंने ई-वे बिल इसलिए जारी किया और इसका ये हुआ. If we have those such explanations, we need not to say that I had issued a e-way bill for 100 crore, that means my supply is for 100 crore. Am I clear? No, e-way bill is not. If we go for the list of 8 goods, and e-way bill is not required for the exempted goods, friends. Even if one more thing I will like to add in this, एक ट्रक में 40,000 रुपए का एग्जम्प्टेड माल, 40,000 रुपए का टैक्सेबल माल जा रहा है, 50,000 रुपए का एग्जम्प्टेड माल जा रहा है, तो मेरे को माल की वैल्यू 40,000 ही जोड़नी है, 50,000 नहीं जोड़नी. You can योर फर्स्ट लिम्ब ऑफ द क्वेश्चन इज, एक इनवॉइस का माल कई ई-वे बिल से, कई व्हीकल्स में जा रहा है. देयर इज, although they have opened up a facility of generating, mentioning that the goods will be moved by different vehicles, but suggested is send the goods one invoice, but multiple challans and multiple invoices. This is recommended, but system allows you one e-way bill, multiple vehicles, and as well as vice versa. What do you mean by vice versa? vehicle one vehicle, multiple invoices, that is permitted, sir. परचून के जो ट्रक जाते हैं वो तो ऐसे ही जाते हैं, एक ट्रक में कितना भी माल होता है. Although the transporters are not following the system of e-way bill 2, where he can fill up all the e-way bills in one document, but yes, sir, again, query has come. My query registration is SP is required for supplier based in Punjab and the goods are picked from HP. सुखविंदर जी को अगर आप अनम्यूट कर दें, मैं क्वेरी को समझ नहीं पा रहा हूं.
नहीं, वो सिर्फ पोस्ट कर पाएंगे, बोल नहीं पाएंगे सर यहाँ पे.
अच्छा. Then I will try to. So my query is, if registration in HP is required for supplier based in Punjab. No, HP में रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं चाहिए. अगर पंजाब का कोई आदमी पंजाब से माल उठा करके कहीं पर भी भेज रहा है, उसको रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं चाहिए.
ओके.
Yes, for job work also, if the value e-way bill is required. One more thing I will like to add for the job work. If within state the goods are moving for job work, 50,000 का एग्जम्पशन मिलता है. अगर स्टेट के बाहर जॉब वर्क के लिए जा रहा है तो 100% जीरो वैल्यू से आपको जॉब वर्क के लिए ई-वे बिल जारी करना है. ई-वे बिल की फिजिकल कॉपी आपको कभी नहीं चाहिए. आप ई-वे बिल को पंच कर दीजिए, उसका ई-वे बिल नंबर अपने किसी भी डॉक्यूमेंट पर डाल दीजिए. किसी डॉक्यूमेंट पर नहीं पड़ा हुआ है, ट्रक ड्राइवर अपने मोबाइल में एसएमएस के फॉर्म में रखे कि ये ई-वे बिल है इस गाड़ी का. जो भी ऑफिसर उसको डिटेन करेगा, वो ई-वे बिल के कंटेंट्स को अपने मोबाइल, रास्ते में तो मोबाइल फोन ही काम करेगा ना, स्मार्टफोन. तो वो अपने मोबाइल से उसके कंटेंट्स को वेरीफाई कर लेगा. अगर वो सही है तो ठीक है. तो ई-वे बिल की फिजिकल कॉपी कहीं नहीं चाहिए. इवन ई-वे बिल का नंबर अवेलेबल होना चाहिए. अगर नंबर अवेलेबल नहीं है और वो भी नहीं है, ई-वे बिल का नंबर अवेलेबल नहीं है और डिटेन हो जाता है, आप ई-वे बिल का नंबर प्रोवाइड कर दिए तो भी रुक जाएगा. फिजिकल कॉपी इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड. यस, वन मोर, खुराना जी, वन मोर लिम्ब ऑफ दिस क्वेरी इज, what will happen in case of e-invoicing mechanism? If we see the e-invoicing mechanism, e-invoice जब हम जनरेट करेंगे तो वो ऑटोमेटिकली उस पोर्टल पर पहुंचा देगा जहां पर कि ई-वे बिल जनरेट होना है. तो ई-वे बिल जनरेट होगा, पार्ट ए जनरेट हो जाएगा, पार्ट बी अगेन इट इज द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ द ट्रांसपोर्टर टू मेंशन द व्हीकल नंबर ऑन दैट. So e-invoicing is not going away with the e-way bill. Yes, with e-invoicing, one thing is going to help us, that our intention not to evade tax can be proved. तो डिटेंशन होगा, पेनल्टी उस समय जमा करनी पड़ेगी, अपील में छूट जाना चाहिए. Next.
I think we have covered all the queries. So अगर कोई और क्वेरी है आप लोगों की, यू कैन पोस्ट इट. अदरवाइज इट्स एक और क्वेरीज आई है शायद.
एज ए कंक्लूजन में एक चीज कहना चाहूंगा, सिर्फ प्रोफेशनली,
फिर उसके बाद
व्हाट अबाउट कंपोजिट सप्लाई, वॉट एवर इट इज. सर, कंपोजिट सप्लाई छोड़िए, अगर मैं अनरजिस्टर्ड हूं और मैं अगर किसी गुड्स का मूवमेंट कर रहा हूं तो भी मुझे ई-वे बिल जनरेट करना. And unregistered party can also generate an e-way bill. So composite supply, yes. If the value is more than 50,000 rupees, you need to generate the eway bill.
So it's a really, really wonderful session. My sincere thanks to Alok ji. Yes, sir, you want to say something?
Uh, Friends, for my young entrance to the profession, the professional work to run after the mobile officers and to get the goods released is a very tough task, and only our young friends can take up this job. One truth also we need to accept, at the starting of the profession, we have a lesser clientele, but this practice is very easy to establish yourself in the profession when you are entering the profession. At my stage, sir, मैंने तो मोबाइल अफसर का चेहरा भी नहीं देखा, जवाब ही दाखिल किए. This is the honest confession. But it is a very different type of a professional work, and young friends just entering into the profession, it has a lot and lots of great opportunity. Number one. Number two, the best part of this sort of a practice is we want a mastery only on a very limited part of the act. To perform in the profession, we need mastery on the act. But to start with, I'm a I'm a young chartered accountant or a young lawyer passing out just yesterday. इतना छोटे से सेक्शन को रूल को पढ़ करके अगर मैं काम शुरू करता हूं सर, तो एटलीस्ट स्टार्टिंग में सरवाइव करने के लिए तो बहुत अच्छा साधन है. दैट इज व्हाट आई वांट टू शेयर फ्रॉम माय कोर ऑफ हार्ट. आगे चल के तो सर धीरे धीरे सबका अपना काम हो ही जाता है.
Yes, very true.
Thank you.
Last query है विजय जी की.
The good having exempted and taxable e-way bill required. Sir, I told it, yes, if the value of taxable goods exceed 50,000, you need an e-way bill. But in taxable values also, there is a section rule 138(14). 8 चीजों पर हमको e-way bill नहीं चाहिए. One of this is jewelry and some more things. Yeah.
Okay. For once again, my sincere thanks to you for such a wonderful deliberation
Thank you,
and
Pranaji.
wonderful advice for the young chartered accountant and young professionals, how they can enter and they can start a very good practice. And really, really thanks to you. And my sincere thanks to all of you for watching this webinar. And tomorrow again, we have a very good webinar with Dr. Rakesh Gupta ji, ex-ITAT member, on the tax audit, issues under the tax audit. So my request to all of you, please be there at 5 o'clock tomorrow. Till then, bye-bye. Once again, my sincere thanks to you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.